yourself because there is background coming from everyone's audio. If you are not able to clearly hear me, or if there is a problem in the internet, do let me know. Usually I don't face these kinds of issues, but if I do, let me know beforehand so that I'll not just keep rattling for an hour or half an hour and then later the video comes out where you guys cannot understand. So yeah, the speed is fine. Cool. So let me quickly introduce myself. My name is Pranjal Biyani. I am an AI scientist working for Polymerize, which is a Singapore-based startup. I am working on building the AI platform that accelerates R&D for material scientists across the world. We are working with clients across Japan, US, Asia Pacific region, Russia, Europe, US, Singapore, everywhere. And we are tackling these kinds of problems largely with the help of data science, machine learning, and AI. I am the AI lead at the place I work for. I work with at least a team of 10 strong, smart individuals who are working day in, day out to build and deploy machine learning systems that work at scale for our clients 24/7, right? I have quite some experience in Python because that's the only language I have programmed in for the last 2.5, 3 years. I've built multiple projects, multiple products, as well as multiple tools with Python. And it is one of the simplest as well as the most impactful languages to learn in 2022. The same was called in 2021, 2020, and 2019. So it's always a good bet to place on Python. It's fairly simple for beginners to understand. So I am not expecting any one of you to have a very technical or programmatic engineering kind of a background. As long as you are ready to apply fundamental, logical, common sense, you are going to be able to attract a good amount of knowledge and understanding of how these things work, right? So there are multiple layers of any programming languages functioning, right? There is something that you see on the screen, which you are typing, you are executing, and things work for you. Then there are things that work in the intermediate layer. What is the intermediate layer? What you write as code gets converted and compiled into machine understandable code, what the computer understands, right? Which is what the Python language does. What you are writing gets converted into a format that is understood by the computer. And then there is the backend layer, where once the computer understands what it has to do, the computer decides how it is going to do that, which is different for Windows, different for Apple, different for, Linux, and different systems. How they process operations are completely separate, right? That's why they are different operating systems, right? For example, you know that Apple or MacBooks, they're very secure systems, right? Linux is very good for development because it's a very free system. You can do a lot of changes with it. There is no proprietary aspect of Linux. It's almost open source, right? Then Windows, it is a proper proprietary software. So there's limited amount of editing and modification you can do, right? So these are all different layers of programming languages, and Python, for its application, you only have to be at the top layer, the front layer, what you see on the screen, right? So today's class is going to be focused completely on an introduction to Python, introduction to programming languages, introduction to how you should be planning to learn this programming language. What are the steps you should take day in, day out? What are the content, different resources that you should go through to improve your understanding? Everything, right? And over the period of time, this is going to be like 16 to 18 sessions, close to 8 weeks or 9 weeks. I'm going to make sure that we all are through and through with the fundamentals of Python. Nobody is going to make you an expert Python developer in 2 months, right? I mean, this is for any skill in life. But what you need to understand is when you look at Python code, does it look something like you don't understand at all? It should not look like another language, right? For example, I know English, Hindi, and a little bit of Bengali. But if I read Arabic, I will have no clue of what it is, right? Right now, what you are learning is to understand the fundamentals of Arabic, just like you will understand fundamentals of Python, right? Then slowly and steadily, you will learn how to write sentences. Then you will learn how to write literature. And then you will write how to understand stories in Arabic, right? That's how it works, step by step. So no unreal promises, but the way I function, the way this class is going to function is we are going to keep it extremely interactive, right? Anytime, at any point of time, you have any question. If the question is small, then you can definitely type it on the chat screen. That's usually helpful because I will come to the chat once I finish a segment. If the question is a little long, you can just unmute yourself. You can raise your hand. I think you guys know how to raise a hand. Let me quickly show you. Right? So on the right hand side, if you go to the more section, you will see reactions. And in the reaction section, you will see raising a hand. Once you raise a hand, after your doubt is clear, you can lower your hand, right? You can also tell me yes or no, Pranjal, I am clear with the concept, with a thumbs up, just to make your life simple, right? Every time you have to unmute, then mute, unmute, mute, that's going to be a problem, right? Anytime you understood a concept well, you should do the yes, right? Simplistic. Okay, so that's how it works. Make it absolutely interactive. And to be very honest, when I was a student, I used to have an ideology or a thought process when I used to learn from someone. I'd really appreciate if you follow the same with me. Whenever you are learning, you have to understand that you've invested some amount of money, right? You could have invested the same amount of money in the stock market and you would have gotten a return. You could have spent that money on some lavish, expensive, materialistic thing that you wanted to buy. You could take a trip. You could do 10 other things with that money, right? You have invested your money in yourself. So do not care about what others think, what the instructor thinks, what IV people, hosts think. Don't care about anybody. If it's not clear, it's not clear. That's the truth. Do not try to accommodate with respect to the mentality of the rest of the students, right? Not everyone comes from the same background. Not everybody has done engineering. Not everyone has done medical. Not everyone has done economics. Not everyone is a master's. Not everyone is a PhD. Not everyone has 5 years of work experience. Okay, you're all different. Just make sure that your doubt is cleared at every stage in the process. Okay, and it also helps because once I get to see the kinds of doubt you have, I will adjust my teaching in a way that I build from the point where your doubts are clear before the concept is completed. Okay. If any one of you has any kind of problem with respect to the speed in which I'm teaching, with respect to the words, sometimes I use hi-fi words because that's how technical people speak. So if I use any kinds of hi-fi words, you can tell Pranjal, please simplify it for me. I am not, Shashi Tharoor who knows all kinds of English. So you have to just make sure you understand. Okay, the priority should be yourself. Okay, so let's begin. Everyone, any questions so far? Otherwise, just do a thumbs up on the reaction section so I'll know we are all ready. Okay. The class will be a little hyperactive, power pack kind of class. It will not be where I am just going to speak and speak. You guys are going to just sit away and then later watch the video, not do the assignments. It's just your loss. Okay. I am going to just complete the course and I am going to leave. But if you want to succeed as a Python developer or as a data scientist or as any particular field of your choice, make sure you get the maximum out of this class. So someone has a cross. Let me quickly check who has a cross. The cross is gone now. So I'm hoping everything's fine. Okay, great. So let's start with the introduction of Python. Okay, today we will cover introduction of Python, introduction to Jupyter, understanding objects and data types, mathematical operations, arithmetic and mathematics, and operators. Okay. Whenever you begin to learn any programming language, you have to understand how that programming language is different from other programming language. Okay. So the first difference between most of the early stage programming languages and Python is dynamically typed. Okay. Other programming languages are statically typed. What do we mean by statically typed? If you've ever done a programming language like C or C++ or another popular one, let's say Java, you will know that whenever you want to initialize a variable, okay, obviously you are using a programming language, you want to store data. How do you store data? You store data in variables, okay, simply called a var. So in C, before giving the name of the variable, you have to specify the data type of the variable. For example, it will be int var is equal to 10. Right? So C compilers, they have to know the data type that you are trying to create for the variable. In Python, you can just directly do variable is equal to 10, which is why it is dynamic. It automatically understands that if variable is equal to 10, then it is an integer variable. Okay, let me show you an example. Variable is equal to 10. What is the type? Type is a function. Type is a function that tells you the data type. Don't worry about what is this hashtag. Don't worry about what are functions. Right now, just understand the fundamentals. We will cover in much more depth each and every aspect. Okay. So if you set the variable to 10 and you check the type, you will see that Python returned integer for this. So Python automatically understood from the 10 value that this variable is an integer. If you would have created a string like this, and you would have run this cell, this would have been a string. Okay. Now I did multiple things here that I am assuming you guys don't understand. The first thing I did is I wrote down Python code. So what is this? This is a Python code. It can also be called a Python expression. Okay. It can also be called a code block, whatever you want to call. Okay. Now you see when I add a hashtag, the color of the things change. If I write here, it is dark black. If I write after hashtag, it is some blue color, right? So obviously all the tech guys and the engineers who have ever done programming, they know that this is called a comment line. What is a comment line for all the people who don't understand programming? A commented line is a code, is a text written between code that does not run. It is skipped when the compiler is executing code. Okay, it is skipped from the code. Why do we use comments? To explain the code that we are writing. Okay, for more readability. Suppose I have written a code, right? My code is complex. In my brain, I have written some code. Now I give you that code to understand and modify. How will you know what have I done with that code? What is the intention? What is the idea behind the code? By reading the comments that I as a good programmer will add for your understanding. Okay. Is everyone clear? What are comments? How are they used? Right. So you can put a hashtag anywhere and anything you write after that will be skipped. It will not be executed. It is just for readability and understanding. Okay. So here I wrote some Python code. Variable is equal to Pranjal. Okay. What is this? This is a variable. What do we mean by variable? What is the English meaning of variable? Anyone? What is the
One
English
that
meaning?
changes, one that is not constant.
Something that can change, right? Something that can change, which is why I could set variable as 10. I could then again change variable's meaning and give it my name. I could get variable as 3.14. I can get variable and I can create a list. I can do 10 other things. This variable is a variable bit because it can change, right? Now, obviously, it can be variable 1, it can be variable 2, it can be A, B, C, D, E, it can be Vaibhav, it can be Rupam, it can be anything, right? You can give any name to your variable. Why? Because it's a variable. It can change understanding. This is how you access your variable by its name. Okay. This is variables are used to record, edit, delete, update, modify, whatever we want to do, whatever kinds of play around we want to do with data. Okay. Suppose I want to store any kind of data. Where will I store it? Suppose I want to save the number 5. Where will I save it? I can save it in a variable A. So next time, whenever I want to use 5, I can simply use the value A and it will print 5. Okay, so I use the print function and I was able to print the value inside A. What was the value inside A? 5. Okay, everyone clear with what a variable is? A variable is anything where you can store data. Okay, then after writing the code, let's say, has everyone has Jupyter Notebook installed?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
So you must be seeing something like this on your screen. Yes or no? Everyone sees something like this. Obviously not three of them. For you, it will be just Python 3. Can you guys all see this when you open Jupyter? I guess no. So guys, whenever it's a no, tell me no. Why are you hesitating? Go to the reactions and say no. Simply like this. You can keep the reactions part open also. Okay. Okay. So what I will do is, for everyone to execute their first Python code, I am going to take you through the steps of executing code. Okay. So I'm going to request any volunteer who is going to share their screen, and their installation should be absolutely fresh. They should have never used Jupyter. And then I will take them through one by one the steps to create a notebook, access it, and write the code. Okay. And everyone else can follow. Okay. So who wants to volunteer quickly? 49 participants. Who wants to volunteer?
I can.
Okay. Shubhajit, I am going to give you the access to present screen. Okay. Yes, you have access, I think. Great. Sir, what is the difference between data analyst, data analyst, what degree of Python knowledge required in both roles? Pranavi, I will answer that. Okay. I'll answer that towards the end of the class. Okay. Please keep that question with you. I'll answer that. How to use command prompt to run Moshumi? You can
Pranjal,
directly
my
use
screen
Python.
is visible.
Yes, it's visible. It's visible.
Okay.
Give me a second. Okay. Moshumi, you can use command prompt and run Jupyter directly. Okay. Like I run Jupyter like this. If you see how I run Jupyter, you can go to CMD.
Hello, Pranjal. Hello.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, motion. So after running the launching the Jupyter notebook, so it's that some folder is coming. When I click on like downloaded IPynum, so click that, it's open in the Google
Yeah.
cell
Wait.
or like.
Moshumi, give me a second. Let's follow Shubhajit's screen. Okay. Your doubt will be cleared. I understand what you're saying. Okay. So Shubhajit, first of all, यार zoom out करो यार, ये बहुत ज़्यादा zoomed in लग रहा है. But ठीक है, no problem. Scroll down a little bit. You will see Jupyter Lab somewhere. This one, right? Just click on launch. Once all of you click on the launch, this will open in your current default web browser. तो वो Google Chrome हो सकता है, Mozilla हो सकता है, Internet Explorer हो सकता है, कुछ भी हो सकता है, right? Okay. It is supposed to automatically launch, Shubhajit. Can you open your Google Chrome or Mozilla wherever you are? It will. If it's already open, then it will not.
It's showing now, Pranjal. It's showing now.
Share
Previously,
that part of your screen. Share that part of your screen. It happens sometimes. Don't worry. First time में installation में थोड़ा होता है.
Just hold a second.
Share your full screen, no, so it will not be a problem.
Hmm.
Okay, so everyone would have landed at this place. Guys online, has everyone been able to reach this place? I want a confirmation from everyone, then we'll move forward.
No, sir.
Yes.
Okay, Pranavi, क्या problem बताइए? What are you seeing?
Sir, as someone suggested, it is opening in my default web browser and has some kind of folders in it.
ये दिख रहा है आपको, ऐसा screen दिख रहा है, Pranavi? Are you able to see this?
नहीं sir, left end वाला part दिख रहा है मुझे.
Ah, so because your
The
launcher is
same
not.
here.
Click on the plus
Yeah.
icon. Click on the plus icon on the top left. Not there, Shubhajit. Plus icon. Ah, I
Plus
can
icon.
annotate. No, wait.
This
I
one?
can annotate. Yeah, I can annotate. Give me a second. I think I can annotate on your screen. Should have. Yeah, I have annotation. Okay. So this icon, guys, can you all see this icon, plus icon? This is the
Yeah.
launcher icon, right?
No
So
sir,
if
that's also not showing up.
that's not showing in you. Then you are you sure it's lab or is it notebook? What does it show here for you, Pranavi? Lab or notebook?
I think it was notebook.
Yeah,
So
that's why
for
it's
even
wrong,
for Jupyter Lab also, we didn't see this Python 3 kernels or console. But there is
that's
this
not-
plus icon. There is the plus icon.
Click on the plus icon.
Yeah,
Do you
now
now
we can see
see?
the same screen. Yeah, we now
Yes.
see the same screen.
Okay.
Yes, sir, got
Who's is
it.
left?
Yeah.
Pranavi, you got lab now.
Yes, sir.
Anyone else? Guys, hurry up. Don't waste time on these things. If it's not clear, not clear. Fatafat bataiye, get the issue resolved. Let's move forward. Okay, it is done.
Will I click on a plus sign?
Yeah. No, so the plus sign actually opens this launcher. Okay. It's
Okay.
already open, so you don't need. Okay. Now,
Basically,
this
what
part,
happened when I install in a desktop, that screen that doesn't show it. It is showing in my laptop. Okay. But in the desktop, that show only the folders inside it. I will
because you did
go.
notebook. Because you did notebook or you did not
Okay.
click the plus icon. Sometimes default
Okay.
hota hai.
Okay. I will
Okay.
check it. I will check it.
Right. So guys, this is your computer memory में रखा हुआ folders. Okay. If you go to documents, downloads, JavaScript tutorial, links, music, MyPython, whatever, these are all folders inside Shubhajit's account, right? So let's say he goes and creates a new folder in the desktop. Shubhajit, just double click on desktop. On
Double.
desktop folder.
Desktop folder. Okay.
Desktop. Yeah. Just double click. Right.
Yeah. Open.
So guys, yeah. I know. I can see that. So now, guys, if you look at this part, this creates a new folder. Can everyone see where I'm annotating the new folder? Yeah. So click on that, Shubhajit. So a new folder in your desktop is created, right? Name that folder whatever you want to, Python, or Python classes, IV, whatever you want. Give it a name, right? And then hit enter. Now double click on that folder. Now you are in a completely fresh space. Okay, there are no folders inside. This has completely segregated everything you had originally in your computer to now a separate part. Okay. Now this is where you are going to open a Jupyter notebook. 1 second. Just open a Jupyter notebook. Click on a Jupyter notebook. Yeah, click on that. Yes, click on that. Right. Everyone is able to reach this place. Just Jojo nahi pahunch paye, tell me, I'll resolve that first.
Sir.
Yeah, tell me.
So mine, I don't see desktop folder on the left hand side.
Okay. Did you install Anaconda on your D drive, E drive, somewhere like that, or on your C drive?
C drive.
C drive. Okay. So Pranavi, just share your screen once.
Yes, sir.
Shubhajit, stop sharing your screen. Yeah? You don't see desktop. Okay. Then your desktop does not exist, I think. How is that possible? Can you go to your My Computer once?
Pranjal, Vaibhav, this is same for me as well.
Yeah. Let's check. Go to your My Computer, this PC. Go to your Windows SSD C drive. I mean, go to your C drive. Right. Go to your users. Go to your Prana, I mean your personal profile here. Right. Here, what you see is what you should see there. Okay. And yes, there is no desktop here. Okay. Now do this, cross this screen. Cross this screen. Go to your desktop. I mean, go to your front screen, main screen. I mean, yeah, go click on the Windows icon here. Okay, the left side Windows icon, now where you see your wallpaper and things like that. Go to your main file. I want to go to your desktop and find it, but I think this is your Windows 10 or something, or is it Windows 11 or something?
Windows 10.
Yeah, I think it does not have a desktop. Can you go to your desktop, actual desktop? If you want to access your main desktop, you can go, right? So do one thing, just select any file here, like just create a new folder here, right click and select, create a new folder. Right, give it any random name. Right, now, yes, create that folder completely, like rename it. Now right click on it and go to properties, last one, properties. Right, see users Prana OneDrive desktop. Okay, so it's in your OneDrive. You can save it anywhere, Indrani, that's not a problem. You can save it anywhere. I'm just worrying for these guys. You can save it anywhere. All I want is it should be separate. Okay, it should not be mixed. So go back to your Jupyter lab, Pranavi.
We can save this file in any other folder. It is
Yes,
not
yes, you
mandatory
can.
to save.
No.
Okay.
Wherever you can see. Okay. Go to OneDrive, Pranavi. Yeah, here you will find desktop. Okay. If you want desktop to save it in your desktop, you can save it in documents wherever you want. Okay.
Sir,
Anyway.
can't I
Yeah.
save it in my other drives, D
No,
drive?
that's a problem because you have installed Anaconda on C drive, right? So
Okay.
Anaconda cannot directly access anything outside C drive.
Oh, acha.
It's
Right.
not like you cannot open the notebook which is present in D drive. You can.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You can open it in D drive, but from here you will not be able to access C drive, anything other than C drive.
So like
Which-
whatever I'm later in this process, whatever I'm saving,
Yeah. Mhm.
it will go in this folder, and can I pick that folder and put it somewhere?
Yeah. So suppose go to your desktop. Not from inside only, from Jupyter Lab only. Double click on desktop. You see the folder XYZ here, right? Now create a new folder here.
Yes, sir.
Create a new folder here, right? Give it a name. Hit enter. Now actually go to your desktop. See if you get the Python folder there. You get the Python folder. Okay.
Yes,
So
sir. And
Jupyter
this
Jupyter
I
is
can,
doing that for you. Yeah.
right, and this I can put it in other drives,
D
D
drive,
drive.
E drive, yes. So
Ah.
what I said is you can put it somewhere else, but you cannot access it from Jupyter Lab directly. Okay.
मतलब?
I am saying अभी यहाँ पे आप Python में सब कुछ डाल दो. After the course is over, आप इसको उठा के D drive या E drive में रख दो. That's not a problem. Okay. But अगर आप इसको अभी D drive और E drive में रख दोगे, तो आप Jupyter Lab से इसको access नहीं कर पाओगे.
अच्छा.
डायरेक्टली. ठीक है. देयर आर वेज टू डू इट. आप टर्मिनल में जाके उस फोल्डर में जाके जुपिटर को वहां से इंस्टेंशिएट करोगे तो चलेगा, बट आई डोंट वांट टू कॉम्प्लिकेट योर लाइफ अभी. ठीक है. वी कैन डू दैट लेटर.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Also, if I move the file from desktop to any other folder later in other drives, would it work the same? Yes, it would work the same, Indrani, as long as all the files you are wanting to open are in the same folder. Suppose आपने एक नोटबुक खोला जिसके अंदर एक CSV फाइल भी थी, राइट? अब वो CSV फाइल आपने ट्रांसफर नहीं की, बट नोटबुक आपने ट्रांसफर कर दी, तो इट इज नॉट गोइंग टू वर्क. Okay. Okay. Yes. Go ahead,
Yes,
Shuramit.
yeah, so when I'm trying to double click on the folder, it's not actually opening. So is
Share
that
your screen. Share your screen.
yeah.
डबल क्लिक करने से फोल्डर ओपन नहीं हो रहा है. दैट इज स्ट्रेंज.
So can you see my screen?
Yeah, it came now. Double click on desktop.
Yes, I did this. Nothing is opening. I don't know why.
I think it might have hanged. Refresh your screen. I mean, refresh your web page. ये वाला जो बटन है ऊपर में लेफ्ट, टॉप लेफ्ट में रिफ्रेश बटन. वेब पेज रिफ्रेश. आई मीन जैसे गूगल क्रोम में रिफ्रेश करते हैं ना, वो वाला रिफ्रेश. Like you open you do go google.com and then refresh Google ना, वो वाला रिफ्रेश का बटन जो आता है.
Okay.
Yeah, reload. Now try double clicking on desktop.
No, sir. Still not coming.
I'm pretty sure that you will not be doing double click wrong, but I'm also pretty sure that it's not possible that double click does not work. Okay. So do one thing. I think, okay, so this is not refreshing. Do you see it's still loading? So your local host is not working right now. Close this. This is not working. The kernel has ended. Close the Jupyter Lab. Server connection में error है. Go to your Anaconda again.
This one.
Go to your Anaconda navigator again, please.
Yes, sir.
I can't see that. I mean, you've only shared your Google Chrome then. Have you opened Jupyter Lab? I mean, Anaconda Navigator?
Yes, I have opened it. Okay.
You're not sharing your screen. You have to share your full screen. Okay. You shared just a part of your screen. That's why it's not working. Yeah. So you clicked on Jupyter Lab. Now it's opening. It takes some time. Select. Now double click on desktop. Working. Okay. What about everyone else? Guys, all of you, quickly. All of you, done? Okay. So I'm going to go back and share my screen now. Okay. So you would have gotten this Python 3, right? The moment you would have clicked on this, right? Let me just simulate a situation like that. You guys have created Python folder, double clicked on it, launcher Python 3. Did everyone get this? Yahan tak sab pahunch gaye?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right? So this part, what you see on the screen is called a cell. Okay. A cell is where you write Python code. So we are going to write our first Python code. We are going to execute a function which is called print. Inside the function, we will write hello, guys, exclamation mark. Everyone write this in the cell. See if the colors are same for you. See if you put double quotes across the string. Check that. Make it hands-on. As soon as you write the code, let me know yes or no. Done. Okay.
Sir,
Yeah.
sir, does this work only when I have internet connection?
No. This is something called as local host. So it works on your
Offline.
system. Okay. Local host. So you have created, you are hosting this web. Okay. So it does not need the internet. You are the one who has hosted this. Okay. Cool. Everyone done? Now we are going to execute it. Okay. How do we execute? You see this play button? If you stay on this for a little long time, it will say run the selected cells. So this executes your Python code. And you see that I asked Python to print hello guys, and it printed hello guys. Everyone execute this. See if it is working for all of you. Anyone getting any errors? Shortcut key, guys. As usual, everyone's asking for a shortcut. So the way the shortcut runs is shift plus enter. Okay. Print. Everyone needs a shortcut. What is the shortcut? You have to hold the shift key and then press the enter key. Okay. Everyone try the shortcut quickly. Working for everyone? Any doubts, confusions, questions? This is the time to ask. Anyone? Okay, great. So I am going to just go back. I don't need this, so I'm going to delete it. I'll go back to the session 1 that we were in. Okay. So we were discussing about variables and how we execute the code. So I executed the code with the shortcut print hello guys. Okay. So we understood that Python is a dynamically typed language. Why? Because in Python, the variables are not restricted to any data type. The variables can change data types. Okay. Okay. Now, Python is a compiled language or not? Okay. So let me give you an example. There are programming languages that first compile the entire code. They first compile the entire code from start to end and then start executing. That means they will find all the errors in the code preemptively before they even execute. Other kinds of programming languages are again dynamic. They start executing directly and report errors when they find them. Okay, let me give you an example. If I divide any number by the value 0, is it correct or incorrect? Guys online?
It is incorrect.
Incorrect. So there should be an error. If I execute this cell with shift plus enter, I obviously get an error called zero division error. We are trying to divide by 0, which is not possible. But if I write print, I am starting in the beginning. Do you notice something? It still gave me the error, but it did not stop me from executing the first line of code. So it successfully executed the first line. It gave me the error when it found the error. It did not try to do it before time. Right?
So that
Yes. And Altamash is correct. Python is an interpreted language. Okay. Python is not compiled. It is interpreted. What do we mean by interpreted? There is a Python interpreter. Okay. There is a Python interpreter. When you run the code, the Python interpreter sequentially executes code line by line. The Python interpreter sequentially executes code line by line. When an error is found, it reports the error. Is everyone clear? Yes or no? Guys online, yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now, obviously, we learn about a lot of things about Jupyter also.
Pranjal Weber, they said. Could you just
Yes.
repeat that once again, please?
Okay.
The
So I
compiler
said,
and interpreter.
so compiler first gets all the code, analyzes it for logical and syntactical flaws. Syntactical flaws means you cannot write A open bracket B. I mean A close bracket B, because this is a syntax error. Okay, even if I comment this out, this is also a syntax error. So this syntax error and all the other logical errors that you get, other programming languages first try to see and observe any error that they get in the whole code. But Python is an interpreter based language. Okay, interpreted language. It starts executing line by line. Okay, starting from the first line. So an error in the fifth line will be encountered and reported in the fifth line only. Python does not have any clue about the fifth line when it is in the first, second, third, or fourth line, right? But other programming languages, they know the whole code before they start executing. That's
So
the difference.
will it go after the sixth line?
No, it
Or
will not go
will-
to the sixth line. So an error stops the code.
Okay.
Okay. An error always stops the code. It never proceeds after the error. Okay. Any other questions? Any other questions, guys? No? Okay. Vaibhav, I hope you are clear. Yeah. Thanks for the thumbs up. Great. So this environment, right? This Jupyter environment. Shuramita, you've pressed a no. Is there a problem?
No, sir. Actually, I pressed it earlier. It's not actually
Okay.
going.
Okay.
Just
So you
press.
have to re-click on the cross, then it will go. Okay. Now, so guys, the environment we are in is basically an environment to facilitate Python programming. Are there other environments? Yes. What are these environments called? Integrated Development Environment, or in short forms called IDEs. Okay. You might have heard about Spider IDE. You might have heard about Visual Studio. You might have heard about Sublime Text. These are all tools where you can write Python code. That's it. Execution Python kar raha hai. They just facilitate the execution. Okay. Jupyter is one of the most commonly used platforms to learn, experiment, and try out different things in Python. Why? Because it is split by cells. It is highly interactive. It is highly documentative. Like this part, this is called a markdown cell. We'll come to markdown cells later. But this is where you can actually explain the code in different colors. You can give bullet points, you can give highlights, all of these things. You cannot do this in normal interpreters. You can only give comments there. But here you can design your notebooks in such a way that your notebooks are very explanatory. Okay. Syntax is same in all the IDEs? Yes. The syntax is of Python, not of the IDE. Okay, Pranavi, the syntax is of the Python language, not of any IDE. An IDE just lets you compile and write Python code. Okay, it facilitates programming. It does not change anything about it. Okay. Yes, Asim, it is very user-friendly, Jupyter, because you see, you can access all your folders here, right? You can look at the data sets. You can look at the notebooks, the files you have. You can navigate between your folders, right? You can also look at different kinds of help you need, right? This is the different parts of your notebook. You have different extensions available for Jupyter. It can give you auto suggestion, right? For example, if I do A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J is equal to 10. Next time I write ABC, I can click tab and it will auto complete. Okay. So these are facilities that you get in different kinds of IDs. Okay. It will give you all your running notebooks, right? Open tab is this one, but there are other notebooks that are running. The tab of which I have closed, I can just click on this tab and you will see my notebook again. Okay, this is the time series forecasting notebook that we go through towards the end of the class, but this is it, right? So it's very comfortable to work. Pranavi, kernel is an isolated area for a specific notebook. Imagine you are running two notebooks. Okay, you are running two notebooks, and in both the notebooks, A is 10 in one, and in the other notebook, A is 5. So when in one notebook you are trying to access the value A, it should be 10. In the other value, when you are trying to access the value A, it should give you 5. How are these separated? These are separated by a kernel layer. Okay, so the above one has a different kernel, and the below one has a different kernel, right? I mean, a kernel is fairly complicated in the computer science way, right? If you want to learn about kernels, they are like computer programming se zyada, they are a part of computer systems, how kernels work. Okay, they are the medium between applications and CPU, memory devices, and so on. But in Python terms, in notebook terms, kernels are basically individual sections where all the data, all the variables about your individual notebook is saved so that they don't get mixed up. Okay. Any other questions, guys?
Sir, if we are printing A is equal to 5, and then again we give a variable A is equal to 10, and then we are printing it.
Update / overwrite. Okay. If you re-give a value, I mean, it's called instantiation in Python. Okay. Instantiation in Python. You are initializing the value of A to be 5, right? If you write A is equal to 10, then you write A is equal to 15. In the end, if you do print of A, it will take the most recent value because A was originally 5, then it got overwritten to 10, then it got overwritten to 15. Are we clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, variables can get overwritten. simply variables
Means,
get overridden.
Pranjal, hello.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, so it can be reassigned. Means it's not constant, right?
Sorry, repeat yourself and please be a little away from the mic. My earphones are in my ear.
Yeah, it's audible.
Yeah, it's audible. Go ahead.
So variable can be reassigned. Means it's not
Yes.
constant, right?
Yeah, it's not constant. It can be reassigned. Okay. Anything else? Any other questions, guys?
Pranjal, just one
Yes,
thing,
sir.
like you were
Go
talking
ahead.
about kernels. So when you say they are isolated area for specific notebook, do we consider them to be separate notebooks themselves, right?
Yeah, one kernel has a 1:1 map with one notebook.
Okay, because what you showed, like it will overwrite if we assign the name to the same variable.
Yes.
Right? Okay.
In that kernel only. In that very kernel, it will overwrite.
Okay. Got it. Thank you.
Okay. Any other question? Okay. So we will learn about a lot more about Jupyter sequentially one by one. But the core thing you need to understand is this is a cell where you write Python code. Okay. And you execute Python code. For now, this is sufficient. Okay. Now, let me make you guys understand a very difficult concept. Okay. Very, very carefully, guys. I need everyone to focus here. When I write A is equal to 10, when I write this simple line A is equal to 10, what is happening inside Python? Okay. What is happening inside Python? So, first things first, every programming language obviously has a memory location. I am going to represent memory like this. Okay. For now, I am representing memory like this. Okay. And this memory has different blocks. Okay. This memory has different blocks. This is one block. This is another block. This is another block. This is another block. And just like that, there are multiple blocks. Okay. There are multiple blocks here. So if you say your RAM is, let's say 8 GB, then the 8 GB has these many different blocks. Okay. When you know that your computer is 32 bits or 64 bits, it is how memory or data is stored in your data set, in your RAM, right? Now, when I write A is equal to 10, okay, when I write A is equal to 10, I call A as a variable to simplify. What A really is that it is a memory reference. Let me repeat myself. A is a reference to the value 10. We call it variable to simplify. What happens when I execute this cell? If you observe closely, Python knows what is 10. Python does not know what is A. 10 is deterministic. 10 for you, 10 for me, 10 for everyone in the world is 10 units of anything. But we know the value 10. A can be anything, right? A is a variable. Because Python knows this, it first saves this value in a memory location. Okay? It saves this value in a memory location. Let's say the memory location is this. This is some memory location. Okay. And then what happens is A points to this memory location. A simply points to this memory location. Okay. When you write A is equal to 10, Python in a empty memory block, it puts the value 10 and then A points to the memory address. Okay. A is pointing to the memory address whose value inside is 10. So A is nothing but a reference to a location in memory, which is why when you write A is equal to 15, when you write A is equal to 15, this does not change. 15 comes here in a new memory space and A, this link is broken and A starts pointing here. Okay, very important concept of programming. When you are overwriting, you are not overwriting in the actual value. You are just cutting this link and creating a new link to a different memory address. Is it clear, everyone? ये logic समझ में आया? Yes or no?
Sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Go
So,
ahead.
but how does this A know that the address has changed?
A doesn't have to know the address has changed, right? When Python stores the value 15, it returns the address. It returns the address in which it is storing. That address gets pointed to A. Someone is on unmute. Can you please mute yourself? Anindita, if you don't have a question, please mute yourself. Yeah. Yes, Shubhajit, go ahead.
I have a question that first time we initialize A equals to 10. So it's, when we initialize A equals to 15, that means previous A is over right now. But the data 10 is stored in a memory.
Data 10, it looks like it is stored in the memory. Okay, it looks like it is stored in the memory, but there is something called as Python garbage collector. Okay. Garbage collector continuously keeps looking at the memory and sees how many variables are linked to this memory address. After this connection is broken, number of elements linked to this memory address, which is called count, reference count bolte hain usko. There is 0 reference count for this. So this automatically gets cleaned up.
So it automatically vanishes.
Yes. The garbage collector of Python works in the background to automatically clean this.
It can be, so in the notebook, when we writing A equals to 10, and the same cell, if I write A equals to 15, which will be appeared in a later, that will be taken as a final value.
Last one. The last one is
the last one is always taken as a final value for that variable.
Yes.
Okay. If I change the cell, then also?
No, doesn't matter. Kernel to same hai na? The notebook, the kernel is the same. So it gets updated in the kernel. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, friend.
Yeah. Indrani, I hope your doubt is also resolved with the question of memory blockage.
So now if we take B is equal to 15, then B will also be mapped to that 15.
So you cannot trust it. I'll give you an example. Okay. So Python does this optimization called Python interning. Okay. What is interning? It creates a cache memory. Cache memory is a faster memory. Okay. RAM is fast. Secondary storage or hard drive is slow, but cache is the fastest. Okay. Cache memory in any computer system is the fastest. So what Python does is, starting from -5 to 256, it puts all of these numbers in cache memory. Okay, it puts all of these numbers in cache memory. So I'll give you an example. First of all, there is a function called ID. What does the ID function do? It gives you the memory location of the variable. So if you do A is equal to 10, you execute it. If you run the ID function on A, you will see that this is the memory location of where A is being stored. Yahan tak sabko clear hai? Yes or no? Till this part,
sir.
everyone is
Could you
clear?
repeat this ID part?
Okay. So ID is a function that returns the memory address to which A is pointing. Abhi clear hai diya? Yes, no?
Yes, sir.
Right? Abhi dekho main karta hu A is equal to 15. ID should change or ID should remain the same?
Change. Different.
ID need to be same. It may be override.
Change.
15 kahin aur record hua hai.
Okay. That cell must be erased.
I don't care about this anymore. I have overwritten this. This will be cleaned by the garbage collector. Okay. This is something new I have created. Its ID will be.
B is not a variable though.
Oh, sorry. Its ID is now different. Okay. ID is different. But if I create B is equal to 15, then I check the ID of B, you will see that it is same as A. What did Python do here? Because these numbers in the range -5 to 256 are numbers that are going to be used very often to optimize speed of the program. It stored it in such a way that you can quickly access it. And to optimize for memory, it made sure that 15, wherever it is stored, whatever value takes the variable, whatever variable takes the value 15, they are all in the same, pointing to the same memory allocation, right? So if 15 is stored somewhere, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, no matter how many variables point to 15, they will point in the same memory location. Now, why do I know it is limited? Because if I create C is equal to 1000, let's say 1001, and D is equal to 1001, if I check ID of C and if I check ID of D, it is different. Okay, same number but different. Okay, but if C is 256 and ID is also 256, then it is same. The moment I make it 257, the IDs change. So Python limits itself to having the same memory address for numbers between -5 to 256, which are most commonly used. Yes, -5 to 256 is the range for Python interning. Python interning, okay. String interning अलग होती है, integer interning अलग होती है. Right? Interning is an optimization technique by making global cache of particular objects in memory as they are instantiated. It is basically reusing objects on demand. It is caching or preloading a list of integers at startup -5 to 256. अभी सबको clear है?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Another fundamental concept that you would have already observed here is we read code from left to right, but programming languages read code from right to left because they know the value of 10. Then they have to put the value inside A. So they go in the opposite direction. They go in this direction from RHS to LHS. Are we clear, guys? Everyone? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Fundamental concepts. Any questions, any doubts? This is the time to ask. Any questions, any doubts?
Pranjal, just one question. You're
Yeah.
talking about Python interning, and it's already there is a cache memory which is assigned from -5 to 256, and then you showed an example of 1000 being assigned to different variables. So in that
different memory addresses.
Memory addresses, right? So there it is showing us different IDs, different memory locations. But then also there also will that Python garbage work?
हाँ, garbage is working indefinitely. उसको मतलब नहीं है if you do interning or not. -5 to 256 का ना एक fixed location है. उसमें garbage काम नहीं करता है. So जो आपका garbage है ना, वो cache memory में काम नहीं करता है. Okay?
Okay.
ठीक है, वो आपके RAM में, kernel के memory में काम करता है.
Okay, got it.
ठीक है. Any other questions? Repeat once the last part. Okay. So, Moparna, I first want you to explain what you did not understand. I will repeat definitely. ऐसा नहीं कि I am denying that. But what did you not understand? Tell me first. I am waiting. Left, right part. Okay. Huh. I was going to explain what I was talking to Vaibhav about. Okay. So left, right, matlab A is equal to 10 hai, right? So we read A is equal to 10. The computer reads 10, which I know should go inside A. So the computer goes from RHS to LHS. Okay. That's how it works. First, suppose I do A is equal to 10 plus 13 minus 5 into 4. So ये वाला part पहले calculate होगा, then it will be put inside A. Does that make sense? This has to be calculated first and then it is put inside A, because A is just a memory reference. It is a pointer to the memory. This is the real value that needs to be calculated. I hope that's clear. More Parna? Yes, no? Yeah, okay. So Python is a general purpose. General purpose one means it is not specific to any application. It can be applied everywhere. It is very interactive, like you can see. Object oriented, it's a high level concept. I don't want to go into that, but basically everything, just remember this, everything in Python is an object. Okay, everything in Python is an object. What is an object? An object is like a container which has a state of itself, which is basically data, and it has a behavior of itself, which is basically functionalities, right? So not going into the complexities of it, not very relevant for our use case, for our course, but everything in Python is an object. Object is of a particular type, which is why when I do A is equal to 10 and I run the type function on A, it gives me integer. Okay, so integer is an object. Yes, Pranavi, I'm coming back. Give me a second. A is an integer, right? A is an integer. It has a state. What is the state? The data value. A has the value 10. It has a behavior. What do we mean by behavior? Can I do 10 plus ABC? Can I do 10 plus ABC? Addition of an integer and a string?
No.
Is it relevant?
No, no, no.
We can't do that, right? Why? Because the integer object does not support that behavior. Okay, so integer is an object. It cannot support the behavior of addition with a string. That is why I can't do that. So everything is an object. Object is like a container which has data and behavior. Okay, Pranavi, go ahead.
Sir, I was not able to understand again that you said -5 to 256. If I give two variables the same number, it will go to the same location, same memory location, right?
Yeah.
So, like if I'm using both the variables in one, how do I explain? In one some kind of formula, will it not create a problem?
No, because the value is the same, no? If you are using both the variables in the same formula, that is because you want to access the value 10 or 15 in both the places. A is equal to 10, B is equal to 10, right? Now you want to do, let's say, 13 into 2 plus 10 minus 18 into 10. So अब मैं यहाँ पे 10 की जगह A लिख देता हूँ, यहाँ पे 10 की जगह B लिख देता हूँ. Does not change anything, right? They are pointing to the same location because in multiple parts of the code, 10 might be useful or important. Okay, wherever you need the value 10, you as the programmer might not be thinking clearly कि बार बार मैं A ही use करूँ. आपने यहाँ पे कुछ फंक्शन लिखा, फिर नोटबुक में बहुत नीचे जाके एक और फंक्शन लिखा, तो आप यू विल ट्राई टू रिमेंबर कि मैंने 10 का वैल्यू में वेरिएबल दिया था, तो मैं यहाँ पे भी वेरिएबल ही दूं, राइट? सो यू आर नॉट ट्राइंग टू रीयूज, बट पाइथन इज ट्राइंग टू रीयूज सो दैट इट डज नॉट वेस्ट मेमोरी एंड टाइम. ओके, ए एंड बी में कुछ डिफरेंट तो है ही नहीं ना. अगर वैल्यू सेम है तो एड्रेस सेम होने में क्या दिक्कत है? राइट. अभी भी कोई क्वेश्चन है तो आप पूछ लीजिए. आई डोंट वांट टू गो बैक ऑन दिस. ओके, इफ यू हैव अ क्वेश्चन टेल मी. नहीं समझ में आ रहा है, क्लियर नहीं है, नॉट अ प्रॉब्लम. डोंट हेजिटेट टू से नो. ओके,
No, sir, you got it now. I was just
clear,
taking time to analyze it.
I know. See, देखो अभी I'll also give you a very honest understanding. ठीक है, in 2 hours class, if I take concepts very slowly, ठीक है, तो it will take a long period of time for the course to finish. ठीक है, but after every Saturday and Sunday you have 5 days where you can rewatch the video, frame your doubts and ask me your doubts in the next class. ठीक है, तो I genuinely, if I could have taught in 1x, I try to teach in 1.2x to make sure कि we cover more ground, क्योंकि ज्यादा चीजें कवर करेंगे ना तो डाउट्स ज्यादा क्लियर होंगे. Like I don't usually teach interning in any of the Python batches. Okay. But his batch mein, kyunki question aaya, I had to give a relevant answer. That is why I had to discuss interning. But now maybe I wouldn't have discussed interning at all. Okay. So more ground needs to be covered. That is why sometimes the speed increases. If you are not clear, you can stop me and ask again. Okay. Don't worry about that. Cool. So open source, what do we mean by open source? Everyone can see how Python was created. I have met this amazing human being. His name is Guido von Rossum. He was present in one of the conferences I recently spoke at. There was a conference called EuroPython. In EuroPython 2022, I was scheduled to speak. I hope I can show that. I think they had the schedule somewhere. Right, so Guido von Rossum. Yeah, not the list. My talk was on Thursday. So you will find my name somewhere here. Yeah. Okay. So I had presented at this conversation. I'm at this conference and I met Guido von Rossum. So he's like the superstar of the programming world. Like if you imagine Shah Rukh Khan or people like that in the Bollywood industry, this is the guy for the programming industry. Okay. He invented Python. Okay. So I met him. He's an amazing person. He, built it during 1985 to 1990. And till today, the language is relevant. Okay. So high level language, high level because it does not directly interact with the computer. There are other languages that interact directly with the computer. So which is why Python is a little slow compared to C, C++, which are more, low level languages. Low level, not in the sense of high-low, in the sense of communication with the computer. Okay. Python is interpreted, Python is interactive, which you can see we are interacting with Python right now. Object oriented, like I said, everything is an object in Python. It is a very beginner's language, great language for everyone to start. Okay. So this is the shortcut for running the cell and also creating cells. So suppose you want to create new cells, you can hit escape and then B. So this will create cells below. If you want to create cells above, then you can hit escape and then A. That will create cells above. Okay. If you want to delete a cell, select that cell and then do escape X. That will delete the cell. Okay. You have to hit escape only once and then you can keep pressing X. It will delete. Okay. Shift enter is to run the cell. There are other alternatives also. You can do control plus enter. That also runs the cell. Okay. And you can also do alt plus enter. That also runs a cell. Okay. Everyone clear? Yes, no? DD can also delete. Asim, I don't know. If it does, use it. Escape X simple है ना मैं क्यों मतलब to do the same thing why should I learn 10 different things? Yes, Vaibhav, any questions? Pranavi, any question? So I'll give you guys a very good right. If you write import this on your system, okay, and in any cell just write import this and run the cell, you will see the Zen of Python. The Zen of Python is the rules of Python, the core idea behind building a language like Python. So beautiful is better than ugly, explicit is better than implicit, simple is better than complex, complex is better than complicated, flat is better than nested, sparse is better than dense, readability counts, special cases aren't special enough to break the rules. Although practicality beats purity, errors should never pass silently unless explicitly silenced. In the face of ambiguity, refuse the temptation to guess. This is something I love. Okay, it's like a life strategy. In the face of ambiguity, ambiguity means you don't know the answer, you are not sure like that. You have some idea, but you're not sure. In the face of ambiguity, refuse the temptation to guess. Okay, so if you don't know something, you don't know something, right? That way. So this is like how Python should be treated. Okay, so if it's simple, always choose the simple way. Don't complicate. Okay, Asim, if you know DD, if you use DD, I mean, in your mind, if the shortcuts are like that, you use it. For me, it's escape X fatafat. So my hand works that way. Okay, any questions so far? If not, everyone quickly hit a thumbs up.
Pranjal, I have a question just.
Go ahead.
Can you explain just what is the difference between a compiler and interpreter? It is just inside my mind, it's going on.
Compiler and interpreter. Let me see if I have a better explanation online.
I see it, but it looks very complex. That's why I asked the question.
Yeah, no problem. So the compiler takes the entire program in one go, like I said, right? C, C++, they look at the whole code, see if there are errors in the entire code. And if there are any errors, they will not compile the code. They will not run. You have to fix all the errors first. Only then you can proceed with the code, right? And an interpreter, it takes a single line of code at a time. So it starts from the top, keeps executing. When the error is found, it will stop at the error. Okay. The compiler generates an intermediate machine code because other languages are faster and because compilation has already happened. So it creates a machine level code for itself. Okay. So just understand this. पूरे code का machine level बना and machine पे processing हुआ. लाइन बाय लाइन में क्या होता है, इट नेवर प्रोड्यूसेस एनी इंटरमीडिएट. एक लाइन को रीड किया, उसको कन्वर्ट किया, उसको प्रोसेस किया, फिर दूसरे लाइन को रीड किया, कन्वर्ट किया, प्रोसेस किया. तो इट इज अ वेरी टीडियस स्टेप, राइट? बट कंपाइलर में एक बार में उसको प्रोड्यूस किया, डायरेक्टली प्रोसेस किया. द कंपाइलर इज बेस्ट सूटेड फॉर द प्रोडक्शन एनवायरमेंट. व्हाई? बिकॉज इट इज वेरी फास्ट एंड इट इज अ वन टाइम जॉब. Interpreter is best suited for software development environment, when you are developing something, when you are experimenting, right? Because तब आपको चाहिए कि फटाफट चीजें हो. कंपाइलेशन में बहुत टाइम लगता है. अगर 500 लाइन के बाद एरर है तो मैं सोचूंगा पहले 500 लाइन तो एग्जीक्यूट हो, फिर आई विल गो फॉरवर्ड, राइट? Compiler is used by programming language C, C++, Java, etc. Interpreter used by Python, PHP, Perl, right? Cool. Anyone else? Any other questions? Anything, guys? Don't hesitate. Today is the first class. If you hesitate today, then you will hesitate the entire session. Okay, and then after a point of time, you will not find interest and you will not learn Python. That's what I'm afraid of. So any questions right now? Ask right now, okay? Riddhi, go ahead.
Sir, will we get this session one understanding document that you have created?
ये वाला notebook?
Yes, sir.
Obviously. Why will I not give you? This is a course, right? आपको सब मिलेगा. Whatever you see and learn, you will get everything.
Okay. Thank you.
I cannot like कि हाँ ये मैंने पढ़ा दिया, अब अपने आप से वीडियो देख के खुद लिखो. I mean, that's a better way, but that's not how businesses work. Soni Sharma, difference between SQL and Python. So SQL is for data fetching, okay? SQL is not for programming in general. SQL is a database querying language. Okay, SQL is not a programming language. Okay, SQL is used to fetch, compile, aggregate, filter, sort data, right? Large databases work really well. SQL is good for large databases, right? But Python is a general purpose library. You can do anything. You can build websites, front end, back end. You can build machine learning models. You can do research work. You can do anything with Python. Okay, processing, modeling,
Pranjal, how
algorithms.
can it's front end using Python? It's backend, right?
Sorry,
Right.
go ahead. Python
like
से front end develop होता है. Python से
Yeah,
front end
Django.
develop होता है. हाँ,
Django
मतलब
using.
बहुत गंदा जनरेट होता है फ्रंट एंड, बट होता है.
It's not like, yeah.
Yeah, I know. बहुत गंदा फ्रंट एंड डेवलप होता है, बट होता जरूर है. ठीक है. आई मीन PyQt भी है थोड़ा बहुत टैब वैब बनाने के लिए, बट या नॉट वेरी गुड, बट हाँ जनरेट होता है. You don't use front end with Python. That's an honest thing, but होता है. अगर चाहोगे तो फ्रंट एंड होगा. And there are frameworks ना, Django का framework है, Fast API है, सब मिला के कुछ तो बन जाए. Yes, Sony, I hope you're clear. Anything else? Anyone?
No.
You're not clear. No. आपने बोला ऐसे. Are you clear or you are not
No,
clear?
it's clear. It's clear.
Okay, awesome. ठीक है. So now coming to a very fundamental concept again. Any programming language that is created, invented, used, whatever, has to comply three very fundamental requirements. What are these three fundamental requirements? Understand carefully. I should be able to store, modify, update, delete the data, right? Obviously, अगर आपको कोई भी काम करना है आज के डेट में, तो you need data, right? So you should have the ability, the programming language should give you the ability to store the data, to modify it, to update it, and to delete it. So whatever you can do with the data, you should be able to. Second, I should be able to take different decisions based on different conditions, right? For example, अगर आपने OTP सही डाला है तो transaction सही होगा. If you do not give the right OTP, the transaction will not execute. So what is the condition? OTP should match the actual OTP. Yes or no, everyone?
Yes.
Yes.
Right? So the condition is OTP matches. If the OTP matches, the transaction is successful. If not, the transaction is not successful. So the programming language should give you the ability to take a different decision based on different condition. Okay, to generalize, take different decisions based on different conditions, right? And finally, I should be able to execute tasks repeatedly based on some logic. Okay, obviously I just can't randomly go repeating the task, but if I have some logic of repeating the task, then definitely. For example, have you seen that WhatsApp backup happen at 2 a.m. every day?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So उसमें आप
They have a
देखोगे तीनों
frequency.
चीजें हो रही है. Your data is saved. Number one. What is the condition? What is the condition?
A
The
time
condition
lapse
is
of 24
time.
hours.
Time lapse, 2 a.m. Right? रात को. I think you can also set the time, but default कुछ 2 a.m. है. As far as I remember, I mean, ऐसा ही होना चाहिए. You can search no? WhatsApp default update time. 24 hours and 99 addition to existing duration is disappearing message. 24 hours enough for people close to switch. What is the default timer in WhatsApp?
Backup time, update time might be different. Backup time.
Okay, thank you. Backup time 2 a.m. Okay, and it gets repeated every day. So the logic is frequency or 24-hour time, which someone was mentioning, right? I hope we are clear, guys. These three conditions should be met. Yes, no?
Yes, sir.
Any questions? Unmute yourself and ask. Okay. So the first condition to be satisfied is data ke saath I should be able to play. That data can be of any kind. That data can be of any length. That data can be of any size. Okay. Length ka matlab, it's not always size. Okay. So you have to understand that carefully. Length and size are two different things. Okay. So just imagine I can write a paragraph of 1000 words, or I can write 1000 paragraphs. Okay, this is the fundamental difference between length and size. This has a huge size. This has a huge length. Okay, so yes, to facilitate your ability to play with data, Python has given you a lot of data types. Okay, so Python has these fundamental layers. What are these layers? At the first, you have numeric. What is numeric? There is integer, there is float, there is complex numbers, and I think there was another one. Decimal bhi hota hai, but it's not directly accessible in the core programming language. But yeah, these are the numerical data types in Python. Right? Then you have sequences also. What are sequences? I think there are strings, right? So you have data like this string, right? str se represent hota hai string. You have sequences like list, tuple, set, right? Then you have mapping. Mapping mein aata hai dictionary, very important, right? Sir, is complex like a double? No, diya complex is a plus ij, complex number wala complex. Okay. And yes, I think I missed boolean भी होगा. इसके सबसे ऊपर एक होता है none type भी होता है, something called as none. ठीक है? But boolean is basically true or false. Okay, bool बोलते हैं. I think it's called Python data type hierarchy. Okay, so if you look at this chart, ये वाला, you will see this. So none type top पे होता है. Then there are numbers. Numbers में there is integer numbers, which is separated into integer and booleans. There is real number, which is float. There is complex number. Then there are sequences. You have strings, tuples, bytes, lists, byte arrays. Byte arrays और bytes हम लोग बहुत rarely use करेंगे, so don't worry about that. Set types, you have sets and frozen sets. Frozen sets cannot be changed. Sets can be changed. Mappings, maybe you've studied dictionaries. And then there are different functions, methods, classes, etc. Okay, so don't worry about this. Nobody's going to ask you what is the type hierarchy and things like that. But there's a lot of data types. Okay, none type example, Pranavi, we use none type to set a default setting to something. For example, अगर आपकी एक कंडीशन है, राइट, यू हैव टू यूज अ वेरिएबल. आपके कोड में कहीं पे ए को चेक किया जा रहा है, ए इज इट इक्वल टू यस. ओके, आपके कोड में कहीं पे चेक किया जा रहा है a is equal to yes. Don't worry about equal to just does comparison of left hand side and right hand side. We'll come to this. But आपके कोड में कहीं चेक किया जा रहा है, तो आपका a का इनिशियल वैल्यू यहाँ पे नन होगा, एंड यहाँ पे आपके पास एक कोड लिखा हुआ होगा इस सेक्शन में. ओके, एंड इस कोड के बीच में कहीं आपका a का वैल्यू yes हो जाएगा. ओके, सो नन इज टू इनिशियलाइज दिस वैल्यू. Okay, Sony will come to all of that. Tuple list, there are a
So
lot
basically, none is act as a value, or it's as a string or something.
No, none is basically an object in Python, just like everything is an object in Python.
Okay, so object.
Okay? Yes, object data type, jo bhi aap boliye, it is to represent a.
So something like a variant
no
data type, the data type is
not variant.
Okay,
not variant data type. जैसे आपने null सुना होगा, nan सुना होगा, right? Null और nan, they are respect to Excel में use होता है या SQL में use होता है, right? None Python में use होता है to represent no character, no value. Okay, blank space. ठीक है, जैसे string भी अगर आप दोगे ना, तो ये भी एक empty string है, but it is still a valid string. But none is nothing. Okay. Vaibhav, go ahead with your question. Sorry.
Sir.
One second. Vaibhav has raised a hand. Let me get done with him. Yes, Vaibhav, go ahead.
Yes. So Pranjal, just one thing, you were talking about the hierarchy. Now, is it respect to Python, like based on that hierarchy, Python decides on a value, suppose a equals to 10. So does it go through the entire hierarchy to decide?
नहीं, ऐसा नहीं. Python type hierarchy मतलब basically Python कितने layers में divided. Okay. So basically आपके जो sequences है ना, that can contain integers, floats, complex numbers, सब कुछ, right? Similarly आपके जो mappings हैं, which is dictionary can contain sequences, right? So core element से start करके every next element can combine everything above itself.
Okay, got it.
So a list is a sequence. A list can hold integers. Integer is an individual value. That is why it is at the top. क्योंकि a is equal to 10, comma 12 नहीं हो सकता, right? One variable cannot hold two integers.
Right.
For that, it has to become a sequence, like a list or something. Okay, we'll discuss a lot more depth of this. But that is the hierarchy. कि every lower layer can incorporate values from the upper layer. Okay. Yes. Someone had a question who was unmuted. Please go ahead.
Sir.
Yeah.
So means null data type is when we are not able to decide the data type, and when I pass that variable through a series of code, at the end, I'm able to define it a proper data type. Is it like that?
So null is a value that you right now don't know, but you are going to use that variable later. Because you are going to use, just take for an example, if I do A, B, C, D, E, F equal to 50, what error will it give me? A, B, C, D, E, F is not defined. Now, if I do A, B, C, D, E, F is equal to none, it will not give me an error. It will give me the answer of the comparison. Although the comparison is false, A, B, C, D, E, F is not equal to 50, but it will not give me an error. But if I do not define this, then it will throw an error and the code will stop. Right? You are assigning a default value, but there is no default value. You just want to set it so that बाद में error ना आए. Okay.
So is there any difference between binary and boolean?
Binary and boolean में difference है यार. Binary 101 होता है, right? 101 is binary representation of the number what? 5. Right? Boolean में either it is 1 or it is 0, nothing else. Binary is a representation, Boolean is a value. Okay. Boolean is a binary object. It can only have two values. Binary
Means
is a representation.
true and false, it can be considered as.
Can you please repeat that?
Boolean.
True or false? Yes. True or
True
false?
and false. Yeah.
Yes. True and false is Boolean. Okay. Yes. Yes, Lakshay, your hand was raised first. You go ahead. Then Madhura, you can ask your question.
Like you talked about the hierarchy of the data types. So dictionary, basically, we can relate that to hash map, basically.
Yes, dictionary works in hash map formality. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's it. Thank
you. Madhura, you can go next.
Yeah, sir, I'm still not fully understanding the none or the null part of assigning it to variable, because in Python we don't really need to assign a data type or value, right? We can directly use a variable. Yeah.
Pranjal, I write the program type of a none. It's just written none type. It's a separate as a type.
Because none is an object. Just
it's
like
showing a separate
10,
type.
Yes, just like 10 is an object, it is an integer type, right? Similarly, none is an object, it has none type. Like 5.5 is a float type. Right? So none is an object, it has its own type. Okay, we'll come to that. 1 second. I'm confused. So Madhura, one type hierarchy mein, don't worry about the none wala aspect right now. When we will get to relevant examples, you will understand why none is used. Okay. A lot of times, complication aisa aata hai na, when you are building a function, when you are building a class. So you have to instantiate certain variables. If you don't instantiate, you cannot use them. But when you are instantiating, you do not know the type of values it can take. Right? So you start with a none value. Okay. None also helps you represent missing values in the data. Okay. अगर आपका बाकी जगह पे nan आ रहा है ना, तो वो Python के अंदर जब convert होगा, तो वो none में convert हो जाएगा. Okay. It is a placeholder for something that does not exist.
Okay. And this placeholder might have some memory allocated to it, like
it has a constant address. So A is equal to none, B is equal to none, C is equal to none, right? ID of A, ID of B, sorry, print nahi hoga. ID of A, ID of B, ID of C, sab same hoga. Okay, it is interned. None as an object is interned.
And what is the size of this memory block? I mean, what values can it hold? I mean,
it cannot hold any value. No, it holds the value none. It does not hold a value. It holds the value none.
Okay, and whenever the variables take a different value during the code, the link to this none breaks and another link is formed.
So remember, variables don't take different values. Variables get assigned to different memory locations. So none se wo koi farak nahi padta.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
ठीक है. Moparna, the full form of nan is not a number. Okay. Indrani, there is no default data type. There is no default data type. जो भी आप data create करोगे उसका कोई type होना चाहिए, because everything in Python is an object. So every object has a type. Okay. Yes, Riddhi, please go ahead. Thanks for waiting.
Sir, can you explain the dictionary mapping data type?
आएंगे डिक्शनरी के लिए पूरा एक क्लास आएगा, डोंट वरी. ओके, डिक्शनरी के लिए ना वी हैव अ लॉट ऑफ डिस्कशन फॉर डिक्शनरी, डोंट वरी. ठीक है, ये रहा डिक्शनरीज का एक पूरा नोटबुक है, दिस वन. ओके, वी विल डिस्कस डिक्शनरी इन अ लॉट मोर डेप्थ. राइट नाउ जस्ट नो दैट देयर आर डेटा टाइप्स, वन ऑफ देम इज डिक्शनरी. ठीक है, एनी अदर क्वेश्चंस?
Sir, another silly question. Can we
no question is silly.
Sir, can we use copy and paste like we used to do in VBA or SQL?
Copy and paste matlab ऐसे?
Copy, yes sir, copying the cells and paste it somewhere. Yes sir, that is what.
Copying the cell या copying the text you can copy, उसको कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता आप Python use करो या कुछ भी use करो. Copy paste is a functionality of your computer, not of any software. Okay.
Okay sir.
ठीक है, कॉपी पेस्ट अलग है. सेल्स को कॉपी पेस्ट करना यहाँ पे, if you want to do, then it is a little difficult. यहाँ पे you will have to copy cells like this. Okay, then you have to go somewhere and then you have to paste cells below like this. तो वो इधर आएगा. ठीक है, that's a little difficult, not like Control C Control V type. Okay.
Okay, sir.
ठीक है. Yes, Riddhi and Pranavi. Riddhi, go ahead. Then Pranavi, you can ask. Okay, Riddhi just down is the hand. So Pranavi, go ahead. Pranavi or Madhura.
Sir, what are objects? Because you've been using that word.
यार अभी तो बताया यार Pranavi. How are you saying that, guys? Did we not discuss objects? Pranavi, you were not paying attention then. I know now. We discussed objects, right? They're like a container. They have behavior. Every object is of a data type. It holds data. It holds behavior. We gave the example that integer is a object. It has a data, let's say 10. It has functionality that it cannot get added to a string. We discussed that, no? I mean, am I dreaming? We did, right, guys? So Pranavi, I think you might have missed it.
No,
it's fine. Just go through the video.
Sir, actually, yeah, maybe it's getting too fast for me. It's my mistake. Sorry, sir. And
No,
another question, sir, in one cell, I can write any line, any number of lines of code.
Yes.
Okay.
Every
Yep.
cell here is a Python file. Okay, .py. Every cell is a Python file. You can write as many lines as you want. I mean, obviously there are limitations. 5,000 line ka code to nahi aayega, but I mean, practically infinite. So yes, Madhura, you have a question.
Yeah, what would we be using Python predominantly for, like in data science?
Everything. I am an AI scientist. I have not used any other programming language other than Python till now. Any other program, I literally don't know. I don't know R. I don't know. I mean, C++ engineering I had learned. Java also some bit I know, but I've never practically used it. Only Python.
So can you give more examples, like what can be Python used for?
You think of any use case that you want to in data science, and I'll tell you without even knowing your use case that it can be used for.
So
when I say
for
everything,
example,
it means everything. Yeah, go ahead. Ask.
We do use SQL for accessing databases and querying data.
You can access. You can write SQL queries in Python also.
Okay.
You can write SQL queries in Python. All you have to do is connect a database. There are multiple libraries like PySQL, right? PySQL is an interface to the SQLite 3.x embedded relational database engine. It is almost fully compliant with the Python database API. You can write this. For example, there is a very common thing called MongoDB, right? So there is PyMongo. PyMongo is a interpretation, I mean, basically a API that is built to connect between Mongo databases and Python.
Okay. And I guess even for machine learning and AI, Python is the base. Okay. Cool. Thank you.
Doing that for quite some time now. Okay. Multiple organizations, intern, full-time, customer-centric, client-centric, product-based, service-based, everything. The only language I know is Python. Okay. Very, very honestly. Any other questions, guys? Anyone?
Sir, that means the Python has no limitation. You can
limitation in terms of speed. There are other programming languages which are faster than Python.
So only in terms of speed.
Yeah. Otherwise, देखो programming languages कैसे बनते हैं? Excel say can you do everything? No. You can only do what functionality Excel provides or Microsoft engineers provide you. Yes or no?
Yes.
But Python is a language, programming language that builds those softwares. So you are targeting a level below the software. You are learning what builds softwares. So you are free, no? It's like you know how to communicate with the computer. Then you can build anything. Right? Any other questions? Pranavi, you have one?
No, sir.
Okay. Cool. So that was numeric types in Python. Very, very simple. You can see A is equal to 10. This is called variable assignment. Variable is sometimes also called identifier because it identifies the memory location. Okay, simply. And it is assignment. What do we mean by assignment? A is equal to 10. So we are assigning the value 10 to the identifier or to the variable A. We are assigning the value to the variable A. Okay, that is why we call it variable assignment. A is equal to 10. What is the value of A? 10. Print the value of A, 10. Type of A, integer. ID of A, memory location. All of these are clear. Any questions anywhere? Anyone?
No, sir. Thank you.
Sabko clear hai? Next numeric data type, float. What is the difference between a float and an integer? A float has decimal points. That decimal point can be 0 also, but it has a decimal point that defines if it is a float or an integer. Okay, A is equal to 1.0. Type of A, float. Print A, 1.0. ID of A, different ID. Okay. Clear, guys, everyone? Right?
Pranjal,
Complex,
just one more
yeah.
question. When we see this memory location number, once it is deleted by the Python garbage, then is it not repeated ever?
No, obviously, फिर memory को delete करने का फायदा क्या है if you're not reusing it?
So
logically सोचो, मैं clean क्यों कर रहा हूँ ताकि वो memory को वापस use कर पाऊँ ना?
Right. So the same number would be used for some other variable, right?
Same number मतलब same memory address?
Address. I'm talking about the address
Yes.
specifically.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, obviously. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. There are complex numbers. How are complex numbers identified? J. Okay. If you have any number, A is equal to 12J. So ये automatically Python understands that it is a complex number. Okay, because J represents the square root of -1. I hope everyone remembers. Square root of -1, something that you cannot figure out. What is the value of -1 ka square root? Okay. So complex numbers can also be represented. Then strings can also be added in Python. String is also a data type in Python. Yes, Riddhi, go ahead.
So that means we cannot have a variable named J.
No. Left hand side में क्या होता है उससे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता.
Okay, sir.
Remember RHS to LHS ना. J के पहले number होगा, then it will understand that it is a complex number. Okay, J के पहले number होना चाहिए ना. And आप देखिए मजे की बात ये है, you cannot give variable names starting with numbers. 1B is not a variable. You can observe that with the differences in color. Okay, so the rules are variable names can start with either numbers. Cannot start with numbers. Okay, or special characters except underscore. ठीक है, तो ABC underscore 1 2 3 is valid because it is not starting with a number, starting with character. Okay, underscore ABC is also valid. Okay, because it's starting with underscore, but star ABC is not valid. Star means multiplication in Python, so you cannot have star ABC. Okay, you cannot hashtag ABC because hashtag means commented line. Right? You cannot have percentage ABC because percentage means something else. So underscore does not mean anything. That is why it can start. Okay, and Python is case sensitive also. ABC and ABC are two different variables. Okay, these two are different variables. They are not the same. Okay, so ABC is equal to 10. Now, if I try to access capital ABC, it will say ABC is not defined. So these two are not same. Are we clear, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Any other questions? Okay. So the other data type that Python provides is string, which is very obvious. Text data provide ka ability provide karna padega, any programming language. So you can create strings either with single quotes. S1 is equal to ABCD, EF, GHI, JKL, single quotes. S2, double quote, ABC, DEF, GHI, JKL. These two are one and the same. Okay, they are same. Now you'll ask Pranjal, when do we use single quotes? When do we use multiple quotes? I mean double quotes. Do you guys have any ideas? When should we use one? When should we use the other? Think carefully, logically. You are attending. Sorry, go ahead.
For null, I think we use close by.
For null? No.
Okay.
For one character single quote, no more padna. So guys, you are attending Pranjal's class. Do you see the point? Do you guys understand what we mean? When should we use double quotes? When should we use single quote? For different length, nahi abhi. Aisa nahi hai. They can both be used.
So for particular Pranjal.
No. So if your string, if your data has an apostrophe, then you cannot use single quotes. Na? Single quotes will not make sense. तब आपको double quotes use करना ही पड़ेगा. Does that make sense? If your string, if your text has an apostrophe, then if I do single quote, then it will consider this to be string and this to be something else, which is represented by the color. Can you see? Color different ho raha hai?
Yes.
So if your data has a single quote inside it, then you should use double quotes. Generalize करने के लिए you should always use double quotes. It's the simplest way. Okay, तो आपका कभी गलती होगा ही नहीं. Okay. Yes, Altamash, you can go ahead. You have a question? Okay, can anyone hear him? I can't hear him. Altamash, I think you have unmuted yourself, but I can't hear you. Can anyone else hear him?
No, sir.
Okay, yeah, we can't hear you. कुछ audio का problem होगा देखो. You can type the text if you want. Anyone else has any questions in the meantime? Okay. So Altamash, you type your text, I'll answer it, okay? We can use triple quotes. Yes, triple quotes आप use कर सकते हो, but triple quotes के साथ एक problem है, I will tell you. Good question, by the way. S3 is equal to triple quotes. Guys, this is also a way to represent string. Okay. Now you will say, why should we use triple quotes when I can use double quotes and not complicate my life? So when you use double quotes, if you want to go to the next line, you cannot do it with double quotes. Okay. If you want to use multiple lines in your statement, you cannot do that with double quotes because double quotes do not have the continuity parameter. There is no continuation from here to here. So you cannot use double quotes. But when you want to do it with a string, if I want to use a new line, I can definitely do it with triple quotes. Okay, so this is a valid statement. If I execute it, you can see. If I execute it, it is running successfully. If I execute this, it gives end of line while scanning string literal. So the end of line came but the ending portion of the string did not come. Okay, so triple quote use hota hai when you have multi-line strings. Okay, if you look at S3, you will see that there is a \n here. \n represents new line. Okay, so Python in the triple quotes automatically attaches this \n inside your string. Okay, make sense? That is why you use double quotes when you do, and you use triple quotes when you do. Altamash, I hope it's clear. Yes, no. If you have a follow-up question, I'll okay, cool. So this is a string. What is the type? str. str represents the string. Okay. Any questions so far, guys? I think we'll go over time, so I'll want to stop here. I think there's a lot of information given today. Usually students don't ask that many questions. So I'm very happy that this is an interactive and engaging group. So we'll have a lot of fun. Should we stop here or should I continue for another 10 minutes? What do you guys say? 10 minutes more? Or should we stop here?
Sure.
Too
So
much
10
information.
minutes more.
Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
Okay. So the next data type we should talk about is the Boolean data type. Now, what is the Boolean data type? The Boolean data types is a simple representation of either true or false. Okay, something is either true, something is either false. So when you compare two things, A is equal to 10, right? A is equal to 10. Now you do A equal to 10. So remember, equal to is an assignment operator. Equal to is a comparison operator. We'll talk about operators in notebook mein. But for now, just assume for the understanding of Boolean, A equals to 10 compares the value of A and the value of 10. Okay. When I run this, what does it give me? It gives me true. If I check the type of this, it is Boolean. So true and false are used in comparisons, conditions. Why are they used in comparisons in conditions? Because true and false can be linked with or and and. Do you guys remember high school mein hum log padhte the true and true? This will always be true.
Yes, we remember.
True and false will be false. False and true will be false. False and false will be false. Right? Similarly, true or true will be true. True or false will be false. Right? So Boolean values help you do these comparisons and create these connections with or and. That is why Boolean as an operator is very important. Okay. It is a built-in data type, and the way it functions, it is either true or false. The way to convert numbers to Boolean, there is a small hack. Every other number except 0 is considered to be true. 0 is considered to be false. Okay, let me show you how. The integer value of 0, if I convert it into a bool, don't worry about the bool function. What the bool function does is it converts this value into a Boolean. Okay, just like float of 1 is 1.0 and integer of 1.5 is 1. What is this int doing? What is this float doing? What is this bool doing? It is converting the values that you are passing to it into the respective data type. Okay, so Boolean of 0 is false. Boolean of 1 is true. Boolean of -10 is true. Boolean of -1000 or anything is true. Yes, Devjit, what you are mentioning is correct. The technical term for this is typecasting. Okay, you are converting from one data type to another data type if and only if it is possible. Let me give you an example of if and only if it is possible. String value of 1, 2, 3. It is possible. Integer value of ABC. Oh, sorry, ABC was already mentioned. Integer value of some random thing. Name is not defined. Let's say, my bad. Integer value of a string. Invalid literal for int with base 10. What it is trying to tell you is, I cannot convert this string into an integer because it does not make sense. Okay, so if and only if it is possible. Wherever typecasting is possible, only there you can do typecasting. For example, float can be converted to integer and integer can be converted to float. Right? Everybody understands this? Yes or no? So they are both convertible, right? But numbers can be converted to strings. Strings are not necessarily going to be converted to numbers. Okay? Suppose I do integer of in the string format 455. This will get converted to integer 455 because it was possible to convert. But if I add an A here, then it becomes not possible to convert. Are we clear, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So Boolean is simply true and false. It has its type. The type is Boolean. Okay. It is mostly used in comparison and other functionalities like that. Okay. This we have already discussed. Generally, Boolean values are returned as a result of some sort of comparison. The variable result will store the Boolean value of false after the equality comparison takes place. Clear? It's very simple. Okay. You can look at these examples and you will understand. Cool. So mathematical operations we will discuss from the next class. Simple, but I want you guys to do some hands-on exercises. So that we will cover in the next class. Okay, we'll start from here. Mathematical operations with data types. Okay, so to resolve the doubts of people who think we will not share notebooks, let me immediately share the notebook, okay? We will always share notebooks. Python for data. अच्छा, अभी तो data science चालू नहीं हुआ. Python fundamentals, session 1. Notebook. Guys, any questions अभी लेते हैं वो जितने भी आपके मतलब non Python related अगर कोई doubts है career और वो सबको लेके तो this is the time.
So how will be the final assessment? What will be the format of it?
So it can be a project, it will be different questions, it will be different practice sets that you have been given over the course of the entire, over all the sessions of the course. So final assessment is not just based on one final result, okay? It is based on your overall class performance.
So okay, it so won't be an MCQ based like test, but it will be a project instead.
It will not be an MCQ based, multiple things, not just project, not just
Okay.
Yeah, Pranjal, hello.
Yeah.
For career perspective, okay. So if I like particularly joined as a Python developer, like in the data science field, so it's possible like only for the Python or like Python and SQL.
You want to join as a software developer with Python?
No. And like data analyst perspective, I like talking about this. Like it's possible to join as a Python and SQL just using.
So, देखो, I always recommend whoever I have, worked with or trained in any way. You just need to know 3 things. Okay, the first is Excel, then is SQL, and then is Python. Okay, Excel will give you the functionality of getting reports, preparing them, sharing with people, and giving the analysis essay simply. SQL will help you when the data set gets larger because Excel does not work when the data set gets larger. And Python gives you complete freedom for anything you want to do.
Because I already worked as a now working as a developer, so I moved to the developer to data analyst domain.
Developer.
So
I mean developer with what skills? I mean what skills as a developer?
Developer means Angular, MongoDB, Node, Express. That's like
more like backend. Yeah. So if you want to move to data science, data analyst, then Python up kar lo. Then with your experience of backend, you can get in. Like what we do is we hire backend engineers, right, in my company. And we need Python, and other things are a plus.
Okay. Thank you.
Asim, you can ask that from the Ivy course managers. Okay, they have that document. I don't have that. We will cover fundamentals of Python. We'll cover fundamentals of data science, data analysis, pandas, matplotlib, numpy, time series modeling, clustering, logistic regression. I mean classification and regression. Okay, but we will not do very advanced machine learning. We will do very basic machine learning. Okay, but a more clearly outlined syllabus you will get either from Rakib or Fahim, whoever you are in touch with at Ivy. Okay, course managers or in in general career managers, whoever you have. Okay, anything else, guys?
Yeah, Pranjal, just
sir?
one question.
Yeah,
please go ahead.
Yeah, sir, earlier the session I was asking a related difference between a data analyst and a data scientist, and for each role what is the degree of knowledge we need for of Python?
okay, so data scientist अगर आपको बनना है तो you are jack of, okay Moparna, bye, thank you. Data scientist अगर आपको बनना है, you have to be jack of all trades, master of none. Okay, I mean master of none is a wrong thing to say, but आपको data science के लिए बहुत बड़ा universe cover करना पड़ेगा. Algorithms, models, their fundamental mathematical logic, how do you build them, practice different projects, different domains, सब कुछ आता है. Business analysis भी आता है, data analysis भी आता है, visualization भी आता है, बहुत कुछ आ जाता है. Data scientist is like a complete profile of data का problem solve करना है तो call the data scientist. That's it, right? Data analyst का काम थोड़ा कम है. What the way they function is, this is the data, analyze it, right? So data scientist और data analyst में fundamental difference ये है, data analyst shows you the current situation. Data scientist shows you the current situation and predicts the future and recommends your course of action. Okay, they take it one step further.
So
And
data
sir, so people like me who has no domain knowledge or
start with data analyst. Start with data analyst. Don't go for data scientist. You will not get a role immediately.
Exactly.
Data analyst se karke you can transform.
Acha. And doing such like ML का जो आपने बोला ना, simple projects will do. So will that is that sufficient to get into or crack an interview as a data analyst?
Yes, I like so last week I looked at almost like 500 resumes. Okay, so project डाल सब देते, ठीक है, it's very easy. अभी तो online इतना easy है, copy paste करो and मैंने ये वाला project कर दिया. The first question I ask whenever someone claims that they've done a project is, what is the algorithm you have used, why you have used it? Most of the people can't answer. If you ask them the core logic behind the project, they don't know, right? So do two projects, but do good projects and do something that is different. Don't copy paste. अगर क्योंकि like if a recruiter is looking at 500 resumes, he already knows कि अभी ये वाला project market में चला हुआ है, तो सारे resumes में ये वाला project मिलेगा. जैसे अभी COVID हुआ था, right? तो COVID का एक project industry में launch हो गया है, COVID detection. तो अभी सारे resumes में COVID detection है. बट मॉडल्स का मैथमेटिक्स पूछेंगे कोई नहीं बता पाएगा, फंडामेंटल कॉन्सेप्ट पूछेंगे कोई नहीं बता पाएगा. तो प्रोजेक्ट्स आप डेटा एनालिस्ट के रोल के लिए एनालिसिस प्रोजेक्ट्स करो, बट आप डिफरेंट डोमेन में करो, मार्केटिंग में कर लो, सप्लाई चेन में कर लो, यू कैन ट्राई फाइनेंस डोमेन का एक प्रोजेक्ट, बैंकिंग का एक प्रोजेक्ट, ताकि विच एवर कंपनी यू अप्लाई टू, वट एवर डोमेन दे आर वर्किंग इन, यू हैव अ रेलिवेंट प्रोजेक्ट टू शो देम.
So sir,
okay, and start small.
और ये जो projects होते हैं, so I can pick up any data set from this open source like Kaggle.
Yes.
जैसे
yes,
uniqueness में कैसे बताऊंगी सर?
यूनिकनेस आपको वो प्रोजेक्ट देखना पड़ेगा जो ज्यादा लोगों ने नहीं किया, जो थोड़ा टफ हो, जिसमें सबने माथा नहीं लगाया, या उस प्रोजेक्ट को आप अलग तरीके से करो, आप और डिटेल में जाओ, एनालिसिस और बढ़िया करो, डेटा क्लीनिंग और बढ़िया करो, विजुअलाइजेशन और क्वालिटी का करो, तो भी होता है.
And I put
खुद
it
से करोगे तो अपने आप आएगा.
And where do I showcase these projects? On LinkedIn?
GitHub,
right.
GitHub is a place where you can save your code online. It's a repository for code. You can store your code there, copy and paste the link, share it with whoever you want, LinkedIn पे और कहीं पे भी मतलब आपके resume पे भी GitHub का link होगा, तो everyone can go to that link and look at all the projects you've done.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir.
Okay, next question.
So for the position of data analyst, so does degree matter? Like, do I need to have a master's MSc degree in economics or something like that?
I'm a bachelor's right now. I graduated in 2020. In 2022, I am an AI scientist, and most of my friends that are in AI ML, they don't have masters or PhD. Okay, so masters and PhD is usually for research based role. If you want to do AI research, आपको नया एल्गोरिदम ही बनाना है, कुछ अलग ही करना है at a high level, like Python भी किसी ने लिखा ना, वो बंदा PhD, जो यूज कर रहे हैं वो PhD नहीं. Think in that direction. Data analyst without masters and PhD चलता है. Generally, if you are not from a technical background, engineering background, you should ideally aim for internships first. इंटर्नशिप में आप अच्छा परफॉर्म करोगे, फुल टाइम रोल में कन्वर्ट होकर डेटा एनालिस्ट में जाओगे, 1 साल 1.5 साल काम करोगे, ऑटोमेटिकली आपका रोल का ग्रोथ होगा, एंड देन डेटा साइंटिस्ट, डेटा इंजीनियर, जो भी आपको प्रेफरेंस है वो आप बन सकते.
So, internship is mandatory for all. Like, if it is an experience.
If you are experienced, then nobody is going to give you internship.
Pranjal, I have a question. Basically, I am a different domain. Okay, I'm basically from electrical domain, and presently, last 5 years, I'm teaching in a particular university, in a private university. Now I'm looking for a domain shift. So whatever I'm facing from the last 2 to 3 months when I'm applying, if I have a simple knowledge of coding, they are not taking me as a freshers or anything else in domain. What do you suggest for me, how I tackle this situation? What kind of project I have to do so I can switch it, or rather than you are telling me that
and I understand this is a very common problem. Find a job or an internship where the company's primary business is electrical, and then they need a data person. Okay, so your skills other than programming and data science can also be used. क्योंकि अगर आपके पाइथन स्किल्स पे हायर करेंगे तो और बहुत लोग बैठे हैं जो आपसे बेटर पाइथन में प्रोग्राम करते हैं, आपके जितना डिमांड नहीं करेंगे, फ्रेशर्स है, दिन रात मेहनत करेंगे, दिन में 28 घंटा काम करेंगे, तो आपको क्यों प्रेफर करूंगा मैं एज अ बिजनेसमैन, एज अ एम्प्लॉयर, राइट? I'll prefer you only when you bring something else to the table, which is your domain expertise of electrical engineering, or your learning of electrical, or your thoughts or concepts about the electrical field. जो कंपनी का काम इलेक्ट्रिकल इंजीनियरिंग है या इलेक्ट्रिकल साइंस है, then they need a data science person. You are the fit for that role. वैसे सोचिए. Why do engineers get job everywhere? Because they can code. So जहाँ कोड चाहिए वहां वो कर लेंगे. But civil engineers को वही जॉब मिलेगा जहाँ सिविल इंजीनियरिंग का काम होना है. अब आपको डोमेन शिफ्ट करना है तो आप सिविल इंजीनियर होने के बाद you cannot switch to computer science वाला. You have to first go civil engineering with data science, then you can proceed and build things. In the meantime, you'll do some courses, some other work, and आपका experience बढ़ेगा तो आप already चीजों को समझ जाओगे. But to get in, try to leverage your domain expertise. उसके बिना थोड़ा मुश्किल है. Unless and until you have references, contacts, sources. Yeah. Any other question?
Yeah, Pranjal, Web of this side. So I am 8 years plus experienced BI analyst. Okay, so
BI is business intelligence.
Business intelligence, mainly with Tableau and Power BI. I have been working, and SQL also. So ultimately, I wanted to move to a wider domain where I have this existing skill of BI, plus I also want to add up Python to move into the data science side of it. So there I have opportunities within my current project also, where it will start in like 2 to 3 months, where they have ML model development as well as EDA part also. So post this course, which more or less roughly is of
EDA कर लोगे, आप EDA पूरा अच्छे से कर लोगे, and ML models भी basic तो आप बना ही लोगे. बाकी अगर कुछ होगा तो connect with me, I'll help you out. ऐसा तो मतलब आप कर लोगे अगर आपको basic level पे करना है. If it's not a very advanced ML project, कुछ वैसा तो I don't know. But अगर basic होगा तो definitely EDA and ML आप apply कर सकते.
Okay, because it's not an advanced project. They are also just shifting to on a predictive side. So ultimately, it's a starting. So this course be a good one. Like after 2 months, I can apply this.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Anyone else?
Yeah, sir. I had a question. So for recruitment point of view, what is the best way to showcase our work? Like we spoke about GitHub, but that is only for coding. So should we like also make a presentation about our projects?
No, तो GitHub में
videos?
GitHub में you can upload notebooks also. The Jupyter notebook जो आपका है ना, you can upload that. तो उसके अंदर चार्ट्स भी आते हैं, विजुअलाइजेशन भी आती है, एनालिसिस भी आती है, सब आ जाता है, नॉट जस्ट कोड. Okay, so GitHub is a platform for everything you want to display about your technical career. Videos banana, I mean, definitely if you want, you should. ठीक है, if you can, definitely you should. But वीडियो बनाने का पर्पस वीडियो को पॉपुलराइज करना होना चाहिए, जॉब पाना नहीं होना चाहिए. बिकॉज आप जॉब के लिए वीडियो बनाओगे तो जो लोग आपका वो देखेंगे वीडियो, दे विल बी लुकिंग एट अ जॉब पर्सपेक्टिव. बट लेट्स से यू बिकम अ बिग यूट्यूब स्टार एंड यू गेट अ ग्रेट जॉब, थिंक लाइक दैट. तो ज्यादा एडवांटेजेस.
Okay, because I guess IB mostly promotes videos of the students, right? So for a wider audience,
okay,
I mean,
I don't know
for
that.
a project, yeah.
I
Okay.
am not sure. I am not sure of that. Okay. Anyone
And
else?
another, yeah, I have
Yeah, go
another
ahead.
question actually. So I come from a background of market research and analysis. So I have almost 3 years of experience. So I have previously worked with a lot of qualitative data and business related problems. So how do I use that experience to project myself as a
किस चीज
data
का मार्केट
scientist?
किस चीज का मार्केट रिसर्च आपने किया?
Various domains,
What market?
various industry domains. So basically my job was, whenever a company came with a business related problem, I had to come up with a database solution for them. So research regarding that industry, competitor analysis, demand supply analysis, and all
हाँ,
the
तो फिर
aspects of
that
business.
will not help. That will not help. But जो भी डोमेन का आपको अच्छा आइडिया है, आप उस डोमेन में अप्लाई कर सकते हैं, definitely.
Okay.
I mean, research is a skill which is very underrated, to be very honest.
Yeah.
क्योंकि it is not directly visible until unless results आते हैं. तो I mean, वैसा तो कोई फील्ड नहीं है जहाँ मार्केट रिसर्च आप पाइथन से करो. I mean, you can. आप अगर ऑटोमेट करो, स्क्रैपिंग, वेब स्क्रैपिंग एंड ऑल कर सकते हो. बट आई थिंक जो भी आपको डोमेन का अच्छा आइडिया है, लेट्स से मार्केटिंग, फाइनेंस, बैंकिंग, व्हाटएवर, उसमें आप ट्राई कर सकते हो.
Thank you.
Usually startups hire people who are not coming from a technical background. So I'd also suggest trying to approach startups more than MNCs, because MNCs have hard restrictions on their requirements.
No, I am an engineer with an MBA degree and also have a market research background. So
तब तो सिंपल है आपके लिए. हाँ, तब आपके लिए सिंपल है. Yeah.
So can I?
Yeah, go ahead.
So where do I find these internships?
यार लिंक्डइन है, आप ट्राई करो. लिंक्डइन, आई मीन लिंक्डइन पे ही है. मतलब आई हैव ऑलवेज गॉट माय जॉब्स. वन सेकंड. ना এখন হবে না. So I have always got my jobs via LinkedIn or Indeed.com, or let's say usually it depends कि अगर कोई startup है, they usually post on LinkedIn. Otherwise, if you have specific company names, then you can search their own online job portals. वहाँ you can apply. You can connect with their CEOs or co-founders on LinkedIn, and then you can share your resume. You can connect with recruiters.
হয়ে গেছে, বিস্কিট আছে গো? আমাকে একটা অন্য লিপস্টিক দেবে?
Riddhi, mute yourself at least. She's looking for lipstick, I thought. Okay. What about everyone else? Any other questions? How to enter as a data engineer as a fresher? So लक्ष्य data engineer के लिए यार tech background चाहिए थोड़ा, because backend का बहुत काम होता है data engineer को ना. API build करना, database optimize करना, उसके लिए I think tech role होना जरूरी है. You should be good with backend technologies also.
Right now I'm like third year of my college, so
हाँ, तब तो फिर मचाओ. मतलब Django है, या तो फ्रंट एंड पकड़ लो या बैक एंड पकड़ लो. एंड अगर डेटा इंजीनियर बनना है तो आई थिंक पाइथन का फास्ट एपीआई. देन देयर आर स्मॉल टेक्नोलॉजीज लाइक सेलेरी हो गया, देन रेडिस हो गया. दे आर लाइक क्यूइंग मैकेनिज्म्स ऑफ डिफरेंट प्रॉब्लम्स. एमएल साइड में तो डेफिनेटली. तो या आई थिंक दैट्स गुड. यू कैन ट्राई बैक एंड के लिए तो डेवऑप्स वाले प्रोफाइल में डॉकर जान लो, AWS के बारे में थोड़ा सीख लो, सेज मेकर एंड ऑल दैट. क्योंकि यूजुअली ये सारे डेटा पाइपलाइंस क्लाउड पे बनते हैं, तो GCP, AWS जो भी होता है, दे आर वेरी helpful. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, Riddhi, no problem. Internshala is also good. Yes, it is good. Cool, guys. So I think 15 minutes overtime, no problem. First day, thoda curiosity rehta hai. We'll see each other next Saturday. Okay. I hope you have a great time. Enjoy the weekend. I mean, 6 o'clock ke baad, whatever you can. Have a good day. Bye. Thank you. And please do remember to fill the feedback form. Okay. It helps us know if you are liking the teacher or not liking the teacher. If you do not like it, genuinely give a bad feedback. we can change the batch, we can change the teacher also. Okay, I'm talking from the IV side, so don't worry about those things. If you don't feel something nice, you can always say no and leave. Okay, but if it's a good feedback or bad feedback, be honest and give your feedback. Okay, thanks. I'll see you all next Saturday.